Warning. This program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. This is Unshackled Fury.
The Winter Games have returned, and it's not all bobsleds and quadruple axles, as the Midnight Pre-Patch is here to carry us to the expansion medal stand. So welcome back for episode 176 of your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions, Unshackled Fury. I'm your host, Berserker, and with me once again is the man who puts the P into PYT, Mr. Jez Corden. Welcome back again, good sir.
PY, huh?
Pretty young thing? PYT? Pretty young thing, huh?
I've never heard that.
You're too
That
young.
must be American, though. It must be American. No, I was so confused. I was like, pirate? No.
Pretty.
It's,
I mean, it was either that or the T, and then you do
Thunderstorm
the
back?
thing. You know, the thing and pretty young thing. But that, you know, you're too handsome for that, so I'm not going to do that to you. Well, welcome, sir. We're a little delayed on this one, but for good reason. We were, I think, kind of experiencing dueling illnesses and sleep deprivation, and there's just a confluence of shit going on. Plus, Jez had an important piece of work that he may be mentioning some items from later that happened this past week. So we've got good cause, but thank you for your patience. And now we're back. So it's been a few weeks since we had Mr. GM on to help us kick off the year. And thanks again to him for coming on here and gracing us with his presence. Great reception to that, as you might imagine. And just a solid dude, even outside of the recordings, just chatting with him. Good folks there. And if he's got a skeleton in the closet, boy, I'd be really surprised at how bad one would be if it should be there. Nowadays you never fucking know, but you know, he seems like a pretty good dude and he was good to us. So really appreciate him coming on here. But how have you been, sir, since last we were here?
Oh man, I mean, it's been tough times at work. You know, I mean, it's working in the media. You know, the artificial intelligence is doing a number on us, man.
You're fighting Skynet in real time.
Yeah, really.
You're the original John Connor.
Not quite. But yeah, we persevere, you know, we try to. Yeah, I just been flat out working, man. All me working.
Look at you.
Working all the time, all day, all the time, until I die. Work, as a very infamous orc once said.
I was gonna say you're living the original instruction, the original guidance from Warcraft. Work. Well, I'm gonna take a little break here, have a little fun. So hopefully it'll break up your day, Mr. Corden, and hopefully for the rest of you out there trying to escape the dumpster fire that is this current timeline. Hopefully we can give you a little respite and have some fun. And speaking of. This coming week, this episode drops on Monday. Then tomorrow, I think I'm recording as this drops. Episode 199 of the Live, Laugh, Lore podcast with our friends Jen and Allie over there. And if you are a longtime listener and regular listener of the show, you know. But if you have been around a little bit and do not, they are ending Live, Laugh, Lore, their podcast, with episode 200. So this will be the second to last episode with them, and they have graciously invited me on. For what reason, I cannot fathom, because there's a million other people that I'm sure would love to send them off in style, but appreciate getting to be, as far as I know, their last guest as they ride off into the sunset. And for those that know, but they already know, kind of what to expect on that show. But for those who don't, a pair that really, truly love one of the greatest things about Warcraft, which is the very deep lore of the game and how things intertwine, and the good, the bad, the ugly, in between. They've done a phenomenal job over there. For Jin, I believe this is the second podcast he's done after Morally Gray, which is a show he used to do, and Allie had Dungeon Fables, which she used to do, which kind of went into each dungeon individually and kind of talked about why those were important to the story or what we did. So a really wonderful piece of the content creation and Warcraft community that, for reasons that are wholly appropriate, needing to take responsibility for your own self and your own self-care and doing those kinds of things. The show will be ending. So if you haven't had a chance yet, they are taking sort of an open call right now. If you've got shout outs you want to give or send your last piece of love to them, give them some love. One, because they're great people and we don't have enough of those in the world. But two, it really is a labor of love. Jez knows, I know, anybody that's done this kind of content creation work knows it's a lot of fucking work. And look at Jez. I mean, he's sneezing to death over there and he's still here, putting on this show with me. I mean, it's one of those things that, you do it because you want to do it and you love it. And sorry to see them go. I'm sure we will see them back at some point. Either one or both of them will be in this space, if not even just on this goddamn show, just helping out and being a guest or whatever it is. So we wish them well. They're fantastic people. It's a fantastic show. So give them some love before they head out the door. And Jen, Allie, I love you. See you soon. And on that note, I got a metal album of the week for you. Speaking of things that have also ended. This one, Jez, this one's going to go back a little ways. June 8th of 2004. Those that have been around, you should know, in the music arena, there have been super groups. There was the Highwaymen, which was made up of a bunch of country rock stars, country western stars. You've had Chickenfoot, which is like Joe Satriani and oh god damn it, lead singer of Van Halen, Sammy Hagar. But I've got one in the early 2000s that was one of those examples of the flame that is twice as bright, burns half as long. A band by the name of Velvet Revolver, which was comprised of Slash from Guns N' Roses, from Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses, from Matt Sorum from Guns N' Roses, with lead singer Scott Weiland of Stone Temple Pilots. And this was at a time when both of those bands were defunct and they all got together. And in 2004, they put out their first album, Contraband. It's very much a product of its time. Set Me Free, Slither, Fall to Pieces, I think were kind of their big hits on that one. But it is just a solid rock album. And I saw them live during the few years that they were around. Phenomenal show. Scott Weiland, who's no longer with us for long documented abuse issues, was one hell of a frontman. And Slash and Duff, they're still around. Guns N' Roses reunited, and they've been touring longer than they were together the first time around, which is crazy to me. But there was this brief period of time when Velvet Revolver was a rock band that was out there, made up of like 3/4 of GNR and one splash of Stone Temple Pilots, which was great because as a GNR fan growing up, and my wife was Stone Temple Pilots, it was like our perfect band, like all of our people in one place. But it's a fantastic listen. all the way through. I was jamming out to it the other day, and I thought, God, I haven't listened to this forever, and this would make a great album to shout out for on the show. So I got to ask you, Jez, as I often do, does this ring a bell of any kind, or do you at least know some of the members of the band that I'm talking about?
You mentioned this before the show, like we were discussing it, that you didn't think I'd know who it was, but I actually do know Velvet Revolver.
Yes.
So I don't know if you have this channel in America, but in the UK we had a rock and metal channel called Kerrang, right?
I know the magazine.
Yeah, so we had a Kerrang TV channel we had the magazine and the TV channel in England. And it was just MTV, but rock music, right? And Kerrang, every kid at school used to get up for school, put Kerrang on TV while you're putting your school uniform on and all that. And Kerrang was pushing Velvet Revolver really hard. So I was still in high school when that was a thing. So yeah, I do know Velvet Revolver. Yes. I can't for the life of me remember any of their songs. I just remember they exist.
Sometimes that's the only impact you need. Well, I knew they were there. Couldn't pick them out of a lineup if saved my life. But yeah, it's one of, I think, only 2 albums. They had Contraband, and then a few years later they had Libertad, but nobody remembers that. And it wasn't that good. But this album, if you're ever just like, I don't know, cleaning around the house, or you're just doing something and you kind of need like a little bit of background, just throw this on. Anybody that's out there, I recommend it. It's like I said, it's very much a product, early 2000s. It's not too crazy or inventive, but they got some catchy shit on there. So highly recommend checking it out. So one more time, Velvet Revolver. The album is Contraband from 2004. My God, forever ago. 22 years. God, I'm fucking getting old. All right. That's in mind, out of the way. Oh, Jez, who's showing the emotions this week? And I've got a rage topic that gonna hit right on it. So let's get to it. Let's rage. So we're gonna talk about State of Azeroth here in a minute, because there was a lot of stuff, sort of, and great presentation as always. It was on a weekday in the morning here. So, for me, that means I got to pretend like I'm working and because I do have a 2-screen setup here. Because I have all my work stuff right here, and then I have like all my fun stuff like here. So 2 screens up, got my work, got Outlook, got whatever stuff. And then I've got the window popped up. So I'm kind of listening to Holly, Ian, see what's going on. And I know they're getting towards the end, about a half-hour deal. Ian's given this great speech to kind of send things off about, Azeroth is for everybody, and this is our home. And I'm like, yeah, okay, all right, this is good. And then he says there's something about, and I hear, warm the heart of even the Prince of Darkness. And phrases like Prince of Darkness always gets my attention, because that could be a few people. And they throw up this cinematic, and it's one of these great character cinematics. It's the it's like 3/4 full CGI. I don't know if it's quite the full like intro cinematic, like really super realistic, but it's kind of the one that's like almost there, but it's still a little cartoony. And they show this, I think it's a Blood Elf rogue just tearing ass through some of these void elemental guys, whatever they are, and she gets a drop, and it's a crown, and she's super happy, and she like fucking just poofs out into the darkness. And then here they are, they come in, and it's the Horde neighborhood, and fucking Mama I'm Coming Home starts playing. Says, I am a manly man, and I am very stoic in my day, and I am busy working, and then this thing comes on, and all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, I am a fucking mess. And I'm sitting at my desk, and I'm trying to like half work and pay attention to this thing. And I'm just like, tears coming down my face. And I'm like, how dare you God damn it, Ian, I'm cursing their names while like I'm not even half paying attention to this video because I can't even like pay attention because I'm just all a mess. And here they go, and they're showing, you know, she's walking through the neighborhood and there's stuff going on and the song's playing, and they edited it in such a way that it's just, you know, emotional swells left and right, and it just left me just a complete watery, red-faced mess while I'm trying to like get ready for a meeting that's gonna happen in just a few minutes. And it's like, you can't spring this on me, Blizzard. You can't do it. It's just, you know, it's already inappropriate that I'm ditching work to watch these friggin' things. But then you leave me in a state that is wholly unprofessional for being on camera, as it looks like, I don't know, I just dunked my face in a sink full of water and my eyes are all irritated, and it's just, you can't do this to me. I'm not saying you can't use the song, but you got to have like a warning or something. There's got to be some sort of you know,
trigger warning.
Yeah, trigger. Well, thank you. A trigger warning. Like, you know, they say flashing lights or whatever. They should have a thing that says this might be emotional for old metalheads that can't control themselves. That's what they need. So I don't know how many times you've watched it, Jez. Maybe not once yet. But when you do, just know I'm preparing you, because your neighbor, your old neighbor there, who I know just used to live up the street from you, there in the heart of the Black Country, that's right, represented once again. So just be advised, letting you know. So now that I've got that portion of this off my chest, and Blizzard, I know you watch this show religiously, so take heed of my warning. Let's get into the actual news that we had, and we'll get to the rest of that video eventually, but let's talk about the 2026 State of Azeroth presentation, the state of the state, and see what we're getting ourselves into. Let's go. That's right. Doing the sounders on video is kind of a little awkward, because then I got to sit here and be like, do I got to catch anything real quick before this thing goes live? All right. So 2026 State of the State. We had Holly. We had Ian. They came out and they said some things. They alluded to other things. It was a bit of a mixed bag. If you're a classic player, you got trolled all the way to hell and back. So, sorry, I don't know. Play retail. That's all I can tell you. But before we jump into the map and some other things, because at least here, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see we've got some graphics for you. And if you're listening to the podcast, as most of you do, I'll do my best to kind of describe what we're looking at. But Jez, you right off the top, you wrote a piece about this on Windows Central. Any major highlights for you that stuck out right off the bat?
I mean, the major highlight, I suppose, for me was a very, very specific feature, which we probably wanted to talk about in more depth later. So I don't know if you want me to bring it up, but I mean, we'll talk about it more when we're ready. But it was Labyrinth.
Yeah.
I suppose, like, in general, I was intrigued about the transparency on what we can expect across the year in terms of roadmap. They have been pretty aggressive in just being like, here's everything we've got coming, not next month, not the month after, but for the whole damn year.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of games that do that. I cover service games, for work, and one of the big topics everyone's talking about right now is Battlefield 6 and how hard it kind of dropped off. I think one of the reasons it's dropped off is because they didn't have a proper live service in place, ready to go. And they haven't been very transparent about what's coming on the horizon, that kind of thing. People don't know what to expect. So, and I suppose we'll talk about this as well in more depth in a bit. Like, I do have some concerns and some reservations about the direction World of Warcraft's going in. But one thing that I don't think anyone can really deny is how strong the patch cadence has been.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the content's been great, not all the content's hit well, but there's always they've said they're going to deliver content at a certain cadence, and they have generally been delivering content at a certain cadence. So, it's awesome that there's like, we know when the raids are coming, when there's going to be mini raids and Ixia style kind of one-shot kind of boss raids in the middle of the seasons, which there were sort of mid-season mini patches, that kind of thing, and then like major new features like these, they're mega dungeons. Now we're gonna have mega delves called labyrinths, so I'm really intrigued about that. Someone who, does like a bit of dungeon crawling here and there. So yeah, the roadmap I think was something that I thought was pretty interesting overall. What stuck out to you, good sir?
Yeah, labyrinths right off the bat, and yeah, we've got some stuff about that, but as as a retired raider, that's the jam. I think for a lot of folks in my position, along with some of the other housing elements that they talked about. I think things that people are clamoring for. They're listening, they're paying attention, it seems like, and that still was coming through to a certain degree. But yeah, roadmap. Let's talk about the roadmap, and I'm going to throw it up here so people can see what in the hell we're talking about. So they did release a roadmap. There was the portion of it that was retail. There was also some other stuff about like Mist's Pandaria Classic, which is going to continue on at its patch cadence that it's been on. But here it's all retail all the time. So this is what we've got. We've got the launch right around the corner of midnight with new zones, the campaign, raised level cap, the Heronir coming in, the praise system, which is going to get its own sort of mixed review, it seems like. 10 new delves. I think it's 8 new dungeons, 3 new raids, and that's coming fairly quickly. 2/26. Let's see, February 26th, that Thursday, if you have early access. So it's just a few weeks away, and instead of 3 days, it's 4 days early, which is kind of cool. So I know what I will be doing with the homie Rommel that day. Full release March 2nd. If you're not, I don't know, if you're not interested in that sort of thing, or don't feel like paying that much money for the privilege of being able to get in that early and have a few days extra. But following that, we have patch 12.0.5, Void Assaults, and Prop Hunt. I'll talk a little bit about each one individually as we go. I kind of want to get a sense of maybe what our timing is for all these first. 12.0.5, if we're going by an 8-week patch cadence, here's kind of what I've tentatively worked out here. Looking at late April. So April 28th is the date that I have thrown down for that. Then patch 12.0.7, probably end of June, looking maybe like June 23rd. Then finally 12.1, we'll get the whole new season, season 2 at that point. That to me looks like it's going to be sort of mid-August. August 18th is the date that I threw out. September 12th, that's BlizzCon. And then 12.1.5, it looks to me like that could be mid-October. October 13th is the date I threw out. And then 12.1.7, December 8th. So that really would be about the whole year. And if they hit about that 8-week cadence, that is kind of what we're looking at. We'll see, obviously, how that comes to fruition as we go. But starting off with patch 12.0.5, we'll have these Void Assaults happening all across Azeroth. But apparently this is a thing elsewhere. I don't know, Jez, maybe you know. This whole prop hunt idea where it seems like it's a team situation where it's one team versus another, and you essentially disguise yourself as a prop item and then hide in whatever this arena space is, and then the other players have to try to find you within whatever this, what I'm sure whatever limited time that's given to do it. This looks super fun to me. I'm curious what the kind of reward system is going to be like for this, but they made it sound like this was a common theme, or I've read seems like this is a thing somewhere else. Are you familiar with this style of minigame in other places?
I'm not sure what game invented prop hunt, but Call of Duty has prop hunt. That's how I know it.
Oh,
one of the modes in Call of Duty is prop hunt, and in that version, like basically one team spawns as regular soldiers, the other team spawns as random objects from that map. So like if you're playing on like I don't know, one of the ship maps or something, you'll spawn as like crates or barrels or amp pots or just random objects, right? And you've got like in Call of Duty's prop hunt, you've got like so many charges to switch to another barrel, another prop. So I think it's a random. And so like if you spawn like as a stupid prop that's probably not helpful or useful to you, you can like roll again and try and be a different prop and then roll again, and then eventually you just kind of have to make do. And so then you move around the map and you try and hide. Like if you're a barrel, maybe you park yourself, you just stand still on the map, and then like in Call of Duty, like the longer you're hidden, the more points you get, and it starts coming up with points and stuff like that.
Okay.
And the players who are soldiers, they run around the map shooting everything, trying to find the props, right? So and they've got a time limit to find the props, and if either the soldiers win or the props win, right? If there's one prop left alive, they win. So yeah, there's a lot of YouTubers who do exclusively prop hunt, you know. It's pretty big.
Oh wow, it's that common. I don't know. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's just really funny.
Fun.
You know, it's kind of tense. You know, it's hide and seek basically. Video game.
Yeah,
hide and seek. Yeah.
Oh boy.
It'll work really well in WoW, I think.
Yeah. Depending on the I assume right it'll be to your example thematically correct. So you're gonna be like the example they I think showed was if you're in Silvermoon, you know, there's not going to be a bunch of Stormwind crates or you know some really odd thing sticking out. Like why is there a balloon animal here when that doesn't belong? That sort of thing. So yeah, that's going to be like coming fairly soon.
Yeah, like the whole point is like, you know, the people who know the maps really well, you know, they'll be like, oh, that ain't meant to be there, that ain't meant to be there, you know, and they'll potentially find the props pretty quickly, right? But you know, people who don't know the map well, or people who are just like really clever about where they hide as a prop, they'll do really well. I'm intrigued to see what kind of rewards we get for prop hunt, you know. I mean,
gotta be cool.
For me, a lot of the activities in WoW, like for me, the rewards aren't compelling enough, and I often just like me speaking for myself personally, like a lot of like what I do in WoW revolves around what are the rewards, what's the loot, basically. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a shallow way to play or not. I don't know, but
no,
that's the way I play. You know, and I think for like this most recent patch, for example, like they added the pre-patch events and stuff. The rewards are so bad. It's just like, well, I'm not going to do it then because the rewards are just pointless. Yeah. So I'll like when it comes to these side objectives, I'll reserve my judgment based on how good the rewards are. I guess.
Well, we'll see. I assume we'll see this on the PTR pretty soon. I think that there's a hidden 12.0.5 PTR something somewhere. So we should be seeing fairly soon how this works and what the reward structure is. But you're right. You know, if the rewards aren't there, there's probably not going to be a lot of participation. And then I guess the question is like, how long does something like this last? Is this going to be like a PvP, you know, area that just like is always open, or is this a limited time thing? Because I could see it falling out of fashion fairly quickly. People are like, this sucks, and then you can't even get teams together. And like, well, this was terrible. So,
well, I suppose like that's the point of it being a limited time mode, I guess. You know, by the time people are tired of it, hopefully, people will have already. It will be coming to its end, you know. I suppose that's why they make them limited time on purpose, because they know they ain't, you know, infinite content.
I assume that it is, but again, we don't really have a whole lot of details. Kind of the
I'm
theme
just
of this
assuming,
presentation.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, just assuming. Coming after that, so we're thinking maybe late. I'm thinking maybe late April for that, and then coming later in June would be my guess, patch 12.0.7, which they list here with story and quest, so we'll get a little bit more of that going on. Void Assault Escalation, a new one boss raid, and Turbulent Timeway. So you had mentioned, I think, sort of a Nixia inspiration here as a one boss raid. It can work. It can be compelling if it's the right. I think Nemesis. Well, I can't say Nemesis because that's a Delve thing now. But this isn't the first one of these they're going to be doing, because there's also going to be another one boss raid coming in a later patch I'm going to mention here in a bit. I don't recall them doing it like this before. Is there something about the single boss raid? Is this just to keep the raiders engaged after they've cleared season 1 stuff?
They have done this a lot of times, actually. We had in Battle for Azeroth, we had Unat, was it?
God, it was about that.
A one boss raid. There was also Magtheridon in Burning Crusades, Onyxia.
Have we had one?
Gruul's Lair only had. Have we had one recently? I think Battle for Azeroth might have been the most recent. I don't think they did one in Shadowlands.
I don't recall.
Yeah, but they have sprinkled them in here and there, you know.
Yeah.
But Gruul's Lair only had 2 bosses in it. For example.
Yeah.
They have, and the Wrath of Lich King as well. They had that. I remember the name of the boss. It was a Twilight Dragon. It was just one boss.
Was it
was also
Soltharian or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
We also had Malygos. That was one boss. So they have done it before, and like I specifically remember Una because the loot was just the loot versus how difficult the boss was made it not worth doing, I think, for a lot of guilds.
Maybe that's
so. This is often what's happened with these sort of one-shot raids is people don't bother doing them. You know, fair or not. So I don't know if these will land again. Again, it comes down to the loot, man. Always comes back to the loot.
Comes back to the loot. And speaking of loot, should expect to get a little bit there, but then even more out of what will eventually come in patch 12.1, where we know, because this is what they're telling us, this is what they're telling us. New zone, new raid, new dungeon, new delves, new world boss, housing updates, which if they're putting it on there, it's got to be something fairly large, but no specifics. And this was kind of sort of an overarching theme of this whole thing, is they were telling us there's going to be these patches and it's going to have these things, but very evasive, like more so than I can recall really about, well, we're just having all these things, but we don't even really know where the story is going to, like what new zone is this going to, like I don't have the foggiest idea where we're going or what this is, outside of I've heard something about potentially a Zul'Aman-ish area or something like that hasn't been explored or needed to be explored or something like that, but they are being very evasive, almost tongue-in-cheek so in trying to be like, yeah, we're doing this thing, but we're not going to say anything about it because it's so intrinsic to the story that if you know anything about it, it's going to spoil something. And for a community that loves spoilers, it's more tantalizing than ever. Any sense for you on where the hell we might be going?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
Do you think it's a good idea to be this evasive?
I mean, well, this is the problem. Like, they're so upfront about so much stuff. They're going to keep some things to be a surprise, right? I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's kind of how I'm seeing it.
I love surprises. So I appreciate what they're trying to do. But man, it's so odd to see like, all right, season 2's on the horizon and we just don't really have much of a sense. Whereas in War Within, I feel like everybody kind of knew. Oh yeah, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go there. We've already kind of figured out where the story is taking us, but I have not seen as much consensus this time around on, oh yeah, this is what 12.1 is going to be, and is there a 12.2? I mean, there's not one coming this year, if there is one. I think they're doing a better job of kind of hiding it away. I assume it's all figured out. I don't think it's for any reason like, oh, we don't know where we're going, because every once in a while we do see those comments. But that is coming.
They know. They
have to know. I trust in my Lord and Savior, Chris Benson.
But my assumption is that the reason they're being cagey about it is because it probably becomes more obvious as we play through the midnight base game. Because I did notice that, like, when they did like some of these recent beta tests, there were like some cutscenes, and there were some aspects of them that were encrypted right through to launch and just never appeared in the beta. Oh, maybe it's a kind of scenario like that where they just want to keep some things, to be a odd surprise. But
there you go.
Could be wrong. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just going to be a big nothing burger.
Could very well be. Then following 12/1, which August maybe, we have BlizzCon. BlizzCon, I'm sure, is going to just be chock full of stuff. There's that close to the Last Titan. I can't imagine Last Titan not coming out in 2027. So I'm sure we'll be getting a better idea of what will be going on between BlizzCon and there. But then following BlizzCon and all those amazing announcements, whatever, we'll have yet another single boss raid coming out in patch 12.1.5. But then, as you alluded to mentioned earlier, as did I, labyrinths are going to be a thing. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this. If not, I'll try to describe this for the listeners at home. We did get a little bit of an insight into the labyrinths in the sense of the vibe and maybe kind of the design and intent for them. So we were given this really cool sort of concept drawing of what a labyrinth could be. And I'm gonna have to learn how to spell labyrinth, by the way. Making show notes and spelling labyrinth and like, where the fuck does the Y go? I'm really gonna have to learn how to do this. It's like a mega dungeon, so it's super huge. You can see from the concept art, it's this massive place. And then one of the things that they gave us along with this excellent drawing that looks, I don't know, what does this vibe feel like to you? The underground, sort of jungly underground.
It kind of reminds me of the forest troll kind of architecture.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Along
maybe
with
a hint of Titan even in it, maybe. I don't know.
A little bit, yeah. And they gave us, along with this concept drawing, they also gave us kind of like a map. This looks like something that is in production. It's one of this is like an internal document type thing where they have things mapped out and more of an architectural. This looks like a CAD drawing, basically, if you work with those types of things. But it mentions here on this that there's an entrance, a central chamber, and then there are areas kind of springing off of this central chamber labeled 2A. 2B is the central chamber, but then 2C, then there's 3A, B, C, D, E. And so it is this very large structure. And they mentioned, I believe in the presentation, that it was something that you didn't have to take on all at one time, that you could do part of it and then come back to it later. And that I really appreciate, because I'm thinking about this and I'm like, well, I know this is what the homie Rommel and I are going to be doing Thursday nights. And we're probably not going to be able to clear all this in an hour or 90 minutes or however long we're playing or whatever we're doing. So being able to come back to that content is really great. But as somebody who still actively raids, how do you think that this kind of fills that gap between sort of the hot shot of the delve and like the fuller size of the raid. Is this a good sort of in between that's also not a dungeon where you're reliant on other people?
I mean, it's really interesting that they're going down this route, and I've actually interviewed Blizzard myself this week, which I'm writing up for Windows Central probably tomorrow. And I actually asked them this kind of question, and we had a little back and forth, and I brought up Dragon Age Origins, and one of my favorite gaming memories is the Deep Roads from Dragon Age Origins. It's just this endless, huge, it just really felt like old school dungeoneering, just getting lost in this labyrinth of tunnels that got, ever increasingly eldritch the deeper you went in, and then it culminated in this crazy boss fight, right? I think one of the things like raids do that, right? But the thing about co-op games is, as cool as raids are, they're not that immersive because you've got Discord in your ear. You're talking to your raid leader and your guildies and screaming at people for not healing you while you stand in the fire because you want to maximize DPS, and like, bro, exactly. Like, heal me. I'm trying to pass here, But if you're a solo player and doing these kind of like delves, there's an opportunity there to make sort of more immersive single player kind of content that sort of smacks of like those kind of high notes in games like Elden Ring or Dark Souls or any of these kind of games where, and of course you can play delves in co-op and you can play Dark Souls and Elden Ring in co-op, but when you're playing some of these games solo, and it's some of the most magical experiences possible when you've immersed in this kind of universe. So that's why these really, really excite me, because it's a dungeon, but the fact that it's soloable makes it more different than I think people gonna realize. There's a real potential there for them to do some cool shit with this. But will they do cool shit with it? Remains to be seen.
It remains to be seen. And again, what are the rewards? It always comes back to that. Like, if I'm going to spend that much time in this big ass place, potentially all by myself, hopefully it's worth at least a cool new dining table set or some fine china for my my domicile. So that's what we've got. That's clearly to me the big piece. I know there's a one boss raid. Okay, fine. And 12.1.5. But then coming after that, Jez, we're finally going to get an answer to a question that was asked at PAX last summer, which was, what in the hell is this new game mode that they teased and we've heard almost nothing about, and it's been forever. And I even think I mentioned it sometime late last year. Like, did they forget? What happened to that? Well, patch 12.1.7, we're finally going to get to see what the hell they've been cooking up in this mysterious game mode that they have teased, and it looks like it's going to be something spooky. I've seen people say that it looks drusty or maybe necromantic in some way. I feel like I see a little old god something maybe down on a platform down there. Whatever this standalone mode is going to be, that's when we're finally going to get our hands on it. And Jez, you've had a chance to look at this now. What does this look like to you?
I was trying to work out if it was somewhere in the game. Like, is it Duskwood or something? It looks like, to me, it looks like an existing place in the game that's kind of been destroyed, or there's like some kind of disturbing cataclysmic event popping off.
Yeah.
Or, I suppose like the Drustvar angle's kind of interesting, right? Because World Soul Saga is going to end eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have to like push the game to a new saga, you would think. Unless they're just like, you know what, we're done there. That's it. That's the last expansion now. No more expansions for a while.
Yeah.
But no, and I suppose like people are going to be very sick of the void, I think, by the time we get to the last title.
Probably.
So I imagine like where we go next in the story is going to be heavily not Void, at least for a little while. Give Void a bit of a rest, right? So what are the big bads that are left in the universe at that point? Eventually it'll probably come back to what's his name now? The guy with the sword that talks, the vampire guy. I can't remember his name.
Remornia is the sword and Sire Denathrius is the guy.
Denathrius, that's it. Why could I remember Renathar but not Denathrius? So yeah, Denathrius. I suppose Denathrius could be a big bad down the line. Maybe he takes over the Burning Legion or what's left of it and becomes the head honcho. And never been to the Twisting Nether. What is the Twisting Nether? I don't even know. Presumably something lives in the Twisted Nether. We've never been there, so that is a potential new saga, I suppose. And then the other one that's pretty interesting is the Drustvar and that whole kind of angle, right? So maybe this could be starting to hint at bringing some of that Shadowlands juice back to the fore, but hopefully in a better way. Because I quite liked the pre-patch quest where you go back to the mall with Sylvanas a little bit. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I've got this sort of, and I know like a lot of normal people might groan in this, but I've kind of got this thing where I'm like, I would like to see them fix the Shadowlands lore somehow. And, and whether it's like we gone from the Shadowlands so long, or because time travels differently in Shadowlands or something. What if the Drustvar take it over or something, or blow it up, or and it actually like delivers a sort of undead kind of expansion that I think a lot of people were kind of hoping of Shadowlands. Because for me, like Shadowlands was like, Shadowlands was my first introduction to Shadowlands was obviously through Wrath of the Lich King. If you play a Death Knight, like you do a little bit of Shadowlands walking to get your mount, and there's like another quest in Dragonblight, I think, where you phase into the Shadowlands in Dragonblight for a little bit for some kind of weird quest. I kind of like, I always associate the Shadowlands with the Scourge and the undead and ghosts and spirits and that kind of thing. But like what we ended up getting with Shadowlands was very much probably not that. I think it was a little bit more, angels and that kind of stuff, which I know I get is the afterlife, but I really do think there was going to be some kind of like, I don't know, Scourgey vibe to it. And I think that did try and do that with Maldraxxus, but I don't know, it just didn't hit for me for a variety of reasons. So I wouldn't hate them doing something along that line with the Drustvar and maybe like more sort of Wicker Man kind of vibe kind of stuff, because Drustvar obviously is, to this day, one of the most popular quest sequences in recent WoW history, I think. So maybe it could be something like that to start hinting at what the next saga could be. I have no idea what kind of... The idea of it being a standalone mode is kind of interesting. Like they're not calling it an event. It sounds like standalone mode to me, like, it reminds me of like, I don't know, Plunderstorm, right?
Yeah,
that's a standalone.
It's like a Plunderstorm type thing.
So is it going to be PvP? Is it going to be? Is it going to be an extraction shooter in WoW? Those are pretty popular, right? Like Arc Raiders and stuff. I could see something like that happening.
Those mad scientists over there, who knows what they're working on? They could, it may not be this one, but they could be working on one and just be like, all right, well, summer of 2027, get ready.
True that.
So there is your 2026 roadmap in a nutshell, and as much as we could get out of it, we got out of it, and certainly going to be more news coming forward. Once we've got a handle on the story, I'm sure then it's just going to spill forth everything about 12.1 and going forward and where we are. And beyond all of this, coming back to just the two of us here. They did talk about some player housing. We were wondering where to get that Dark Portal decor, and it turns out you just had to log in, and you got 2, and you can buy more if you want. There's a mount vendor. There is a decor vendor in both Stormwind and Orgrimmar that just sells that, and I think they're $1,500 a piece or something like that. So you can get your Dark Portal now. So that was a great mystery to be solved. But more importantly, they talked about some of the changes and things that they want to do with player housing as they continue to update, and they keep hammering on the fact that give us updates, or please give us feedback, please give us real-time experiences so we can figure out how to take this thing, because they really do seem interested in not just doing whatever they feel like doing, but doing what people are actually asking them to do. So examples of that is they want to, or it sounds like they're going to be incorporating at some point both a copy paste feature and an import export feature, where if you've created something, you can sort of mass select the whole grouping of items that you use to make something, and then you could copy it and make another one. Or other people might be able to copy your room or copy different things and be able to put them into their own, which I think is great, because there's so many fantastic, original, creative things that are being made out there that I look at it and I go, not in a million years could I ever hope to replicate that. So if somebody was willing to put, like, here's how I made this oven or this sink or this chair or this, this room or this staircase or whatever it is, you could use that as a base and, make your own version of it, or just use it on your own, because there's just so much of that going on. I think that'll be well received, along with finally being able to put mounts of yours hitched out in your yard somewhere, or putting pets around that are flopping around or walking around or flying around or doing their thing, and also raising your limits. So the limit that you can have for decor indoor and outdoor, they're going to continue to raise that, it sounds like. So these all to me just seem like very obvious things to do, and it sounds good to me. It's it's heartening to me to hear that yes, we are going to be doing these things, because it feels like there is still customization that has yet to be achieved in a way that they have advertised. And so these are the little bits and pieces I think that still need to happen to get there. And part of what also reinforces that is the video that they released, the whatever, what do they call this thing? I gotta pull up the name. The Coming Home player housing cinematic, where they show this character not just walking through the neighborhood, but walking through their own house. And there's all this gear in there. They turned one of the rooms into the damn tiki room from Disneyland, and there's birds and stuff everywhere on the wires and cords that are holding up Anexia's head. There's weapons, there's armor. I mean, God, there's Shadowmourne hanging up against a wall somewhere. And as a warrior, I'm like, I need that in my house. That is exactly what I am looking for, is to be able to build out. And this is my long-term plan, is like a room for each expansion that I've played through, with the armor sets that I wore, with the weapons that I use, like all of that kind of stuff. That to me is the big get to really express, like, this was the journey that I've had as a player. Like, this is the clown suit that I wore in Burning Crusade, or this is the Death Knight armor that we used in Wrath of the Lich King, or this was the Fireland stuff that we had in Cataclysm, kind of going through each one. That to me really represents that journey, because that's the stuff that we saw day to day while we were going through those raids, while we were going through those dungeons, while we were doing all of those quests. So it seems like we're still on the right path. Did that resonate with you at all in the player housing news, or do you think that we're on the right path or on the wrong path based on what we saw?
No, man. I mean, two minds about it, because on the one hand, I love the patch cadence. I still love raiding and that kind of thing. I haven't been logging onto WoW and trying out what they've done to the classes and the UI and all that kind of thing. Like, they've dumbed down demonology so badly. Like I went from feeling like I was playing a piano to feeling like I'm playing a triangle. You know, it's they've really dumbed it down a lot, which is a bit disappointing. You know, and I've played Demonology like since vanilla. You know, I've experienced all the permutations of it, all the way back to when the damage rotation was literally Curse of Shadows and then Shadow Bolt repeatedly of 10 minutes. That was literally the damage rotation at one point, until they nerfed spell penetration. A lot of people remember that stat, but you know, it's
I remember Armor Pen, who's stacked that like crazy.
Armor Pen. Oh man, but the spell penetration was hilarious because Curse of Shadows could give a mob negative resistances for a little while, so they could have like negative shadow resistance, and Shadow Bolt would hit like a truck when you were doing that. But anyways, I digress. So I've experienced simplicity. I do think it's funny that WoW Classic people are like, oh, Classic's so much harder than retail. It's like, bro, what planet are you living on? You possibly think that? But you know, like the game did get, you know, I appreciate them wanting to rein in some of the complexity to some degree. But for me, it should work like this. There should be simple specs and there should be complicated specs. It's like in Overwatch, you know, like if I'm playing Overwatch or Heroes of the Storm or pretty much any other Blizzard game, really, there are some classes that are more complicated than others. And I think they even said this in one of the interviews I did with them, where they were kind of like, we don't mind Beast Mastery being notoriously easy, right? Because we want to have a variety of complexity in the game. So like, and I'm by no means suggesting that Demonology is the hardest spec in the game, you know, but it was like, it had a lot of buttons to press, like more than a Ret Paladin or a Beast Mastery Hunter, at least. I felt like I was summoning lots of monsters, and now like they've kind of like merged a lot of the summons together into a single button press, which on paper sounds like, oh, that's nice, you know, that's convenient. But on the other side, it just kind of takes away some of the depth and flavor for me. I don't know. But they did say, like in my interview, that this is kind of like the lowest of the low of how simple they want it to be, and they'll gradually like ramp it back up if it doesn't feel good. And also I'm cognizant of the fact that the game is balanced for Midnight's endgame, not necessarily this endgame anymore. So there's obviously new abilities coming in Midnight which we don't have access to yet, new passives, and also like the whole reason they did this was because they want to take complexity out of the UI and put it on the boss mechanics and stuff, make the bosses themselves more engaging. So while I'm a bit nervous at the moment that I'm going to find the game boring, to be honest, or find my class boring with these changes, I'm also trying to stay optimistic and see how it feels with Midnight's endgame, because I guess that's what it's really designed for, right?
Well, that's a good segue into our pre-patch, since there really wasn't much more coming out of the state of Azeroth than what we just kind of covered with the roadmap. There is one other thing. There is this excellent where the hell is it? There's this excellent charity pet coming for us. This Rufus, if you'll notice, Roofus, Rufus, as in a roof. Rufus. I don't know. I'm sure there's like 3 jokes in here about this dog.
I get it.
There's a dog house, a bunch of stuff you can put in the house. But Habitat for Humanity, that's the charity they're working with there, and a great one. So looking forward to that. But yeah, pre-patch, it's been a mess, and I don't say that lightly. I usually try to give them the benefit of the doubt. But your experience talking with you, Jez, talking about the class changes, there's been a lot of, I think, unhappiness about the simplicity of where people have found themselves coming out of this last week. Some things that were completely reworked. It looks like the Paladins had like complete back and forths on stuff. It just, that doesn't seem to have landed in a lot of places very well. For me as a Fury Warrior, I'm fine. I don't really have any complaints other than for whatever reason I find myself playing Mountain Thane instead of Slayer, and I don't know how long that's going to last because Thunderclap just feels weird as a Fury Warrior. It's like I'm generating threat. No, that's not what that is, and it's just that's kind of weird. But what we've seen so far over the last week is just constant fixes where the rewards for the pre-patch event, the currency has gone up, the requirement to buy stuff has gone down, the rotation for the rares has gotten faster. People lost all their transmogs and then had to buy them back, but then we got a free one, but it was still expensive for each slot, and then they cut those costs by 50%. Add-ons still don't seem to be everybody's bag, and there's knowledge are still working on them, but they've had that problem. The housing endeavors, the XP was capped at like 1,000 for a rotation, and they upped it to 2,500. Finally had a fucking post to explain how all that worked, since there wasn't one in the first place about the endeavors. It has been a mess. These pre-patches typically aren't supposed to be the end-all be-all. Yeah, you catch up some stuff, you get some catch-up gear, maybe grind some things out. There's a story that helps bridge the old expansion and the new. But man alive, I don't know, man. Like this one, I don't know that I've seen this many hot fixes and patches this close together for a pre-patch. Like, this has been a lot.
They've changed a lot of stuff. They have changed a lot of stuff, haven't they? I mean, they've changed every class. Every single class has had something done to them to accommodate this new philosophy of, making it easier, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And a pruning, like broad pruning. They've also done another stat squish, which the numbers were getting
stat squish crazy.
Yeah, stat squish. The numbers were getting silly, so that's to be expected, I guess. But they've also got rid of all the add-ons, which has huge gameplay implications potentially. Change the way people enjoy the game or experience the game. People have been playing WoW a certain way for so many years, and they knew this was going to be controversial and difficult to do, but they believe that it's right for the health of the game. And I'm someone who didn't use a lot of add-ons myself, but the ones that I did use, weak auras, that's gone.
Yeah, that is gone.
And the one they've replaced it with doesn't bloody work. So again, demonology. A lot of it's about tracking demons and stuff. And one of their sort of replacement for weak auras, the personal resource display or whatever they call it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't track imps properly, and it doesn't track duration of demons properly. It doesn't track all of the demons. Some of the demons, the new demon spells, it doesn't track them at all. So, buggy. So work to be done there. Whereas, if it was weak auras, they'd Luxthus would have that shit fixed in a week, mm-hmm. or a day even. So I suppose they've changed a lot. Move fast, break things is the mantra, right? But yeah, we'll see how it lands, because there's a few weeks out to midnight, and I suppose if they are going to break things, doing it at the end of the season when no one's really playing seriously is the right time to do it, right?
Yeah, it gives us a few weeks here to kind of continue to iron some stuff out. And they've said that there are things that they're going to change or update or fix that they're not going to put in until, I guess, 12.0.1 or whatever ends up being on launch day. They have some things that they've said that they want to do. I think some UI changes, a couple other things. So they are working on it. It's just, I think last time, in the pre-patch for War Within, there were a few things here and there, and they tweaked some stuff, but I don't recall it being this. There's just article after article after article, is just complaint after complaint about, this is wrong, and this is this, and this is this. But I will say, the fact that they are trying to move quickly and make things more palatable for the player base is good. They started out in the place that wasn't so great. Like I remember when I first saw what the rewards were, like I think you got like one whatever token for killing a rare, and you needed 40 of them to buy like one piece of gear, catch-up gear in this. I'm like, that's ridiculous. No one's gonna do that. That is crazy. And if they're dropping one every 10 minutes, that means you can get 6 an hour. No one's going to play like that. Nobody in their right mind is going to play hundreds of hours to kit out an alt. That's just asinine. So at least they had the good sense to claw that down, to give us more and cost less to get these rewards, and also to speed up those timers and then buff the I think they might have gone a little overboard. Maybe it depends on your server, but they also buffed the health of the rares that are going on out there in Twilight Highlands. So now you might have 3 or 4 of them up at the same time. I've seen at least that many on my server where you just don't have enough people to mow them down and all the ads that you have to do first to get the rare to go active. So they are making those changes, so that is good. But man, this one's been a whirlwind. More so, I feel like, than in the past. I guess the goal is accomplished. If you're gonna gear up alts, you'll get a chance to do. I see lots of people leveling their alts during this because I see people pinging all over the place when a boss gets killed, one of these rares gets killed. So people are taking advantage of it. Little bit of story. We got Umbric and Romath still hate each other, but they have to work together. So it's the story of Warcraft. You know. Unlikely allies. So that's been good.
Romath hates me as well, actually.
What did you do?
If you're a warlock, he's got special dialogue for you. And he's like, yeah, he's kind of like, because warlocks use shadow magic, you know, I suppose. So it'd be kind of weird if he's bitching about Umbric and completely chill with you. So I did think it was cool that, like, if you're I think if you're a warlock or a shadow priest, he has some bitchy comments for you. Actually, I thought it was a pretty interesting, nice touch. But yeah, I helped him for about 5 minutes, and I was like, these rewards are pitiful. So I'm not doing this pre-patch event at all. I'll do the quest, and that's it.
Yeah.
Once, like, what? The rewards are just terrible. Like, the mounts are bad, the pets are bad. There's no transmog. Like, what? Well, why is it so bad? I don't know.
There is the one thing, and I did want to point this out, is that there is one reward out of this that I do think is phenomenal, which is if you do kill all of the rares at least once, you get this, what do they call it? It's a light forged mech suit mount. Not very warlocky, but it is a pretty badass looking mount in my estimation. So I think there's 18 rares. And I do recommend there's the Midnight Twilight Ascension add-on by Zemesto TV. And it's actually a really slick add-on, which has a list of all the rares. And when you go into Twilight Highlands, it'll match up with the server clock, and it'll show you how long it is until each one pops up. So if you've only got a few left, you know, I got to come back in 10 minutes, or I got to come back in an hour, or whatever it is, and you can help fill out that list. So I know I've got about half left to go on mine, because there were also that one of the other problems this pre-patch has had in Twilight Highlands is the phasing is terrible. And so there have been plenty of times when you're doing something and something will phase out, like 2 of the bosses that I've been on where we almost had that rare killed, and then it would just phase out into oblivion, and you didn't get credit for it, and it wouldn't come back, and you're like, what the fuck? So that's also been a problem. But I do think that mount is cool. The rest of it, I'm probably going to pass on most of it. And if you know how to beat the tic-tac-toe game, and you can win it 50 times over there in the little camp, then you get a, what do they call it? It's cramming for cultists or something. You get some kind of achievement, which if you just pick 3 of the corners on the board, the AI most of the time will give you an opening, so you can rip through that pretty quickly now, which is kind of funny. But yeah, outside of that, it's pretty rough. This one's pretty rough. So definitely be looking forward to the launch of the actual expansion here in just a few short weeks. And to help get you there, by the way, the Winds of Mysterious Fortune are alive. We do have the final amounts that those are worth, which I think they could have given you more on this too. 20% experience from all sources and 50% increased rep for factions from Dragonflight and War Within. So better than nothing, but man, I long for the days of 200% experience and whatever crazy shit we've seen in the past. Those ones are kind of funny. You just level people up and rip through it. But that is how the pre-patch is going. I doubt anything is going to be too much more earth-shaking between here and the launch of the expansion. So we'll have one more episode coming. Should be the week of the early launch. So we'll probably be focusing mostly on midnight launch at that point. But moving on from all of this, Jez, since this is definitely squarely in your journalistic space, PC Gamer has been getting a lot of press time lately with the faces over at Blizzard. And one interview that came up that I wanted to ask you about in particular, Maria Hamilton and I believe Ian Hazzikostas were interviewed by them. And in the interview, here's the quote from Maria Hamilton: "There will be important characters that do not survive the trilogy. It'll be a lot of death, I'm afraid."
Oh dear.
So,
well, goodbye, Illyria. Won't miss you.
That's what I was gonna ask. If we're looking at some big, like plural here, not just one, but like it's gonna be multiple. Who do you have high up on your soon-to-be-killed depth chart?
Illyria, 100%.
Illyria?
Please, God, make it Illyria. I can't stand Illyria, man.
I mean, she's on my list. If we're looking at the trilogy, so this is the whole thing. This goes all the way through Last Titan. I've got Turalyon, I've got Thrall, I've got Bolvar. Bolvar gone. Lothar gone. Thrall gone. Who else? It's got to be something again. Gone.
Are we having like a Red Wedding kind of situation?
This has got to be. You know, I very much foresee if this is the end of this giant trilogy, the end of this one era, the specific era of Warcraft. If it's Metzen at the helm, who's very comic booky, this to me feels like endgame situation. Giant battle, everybody you know is there, and there's going to be some heroic deaths all over the place, and it's got to be some big one. Khadgar is, he gets blown up, finally finishes off what they started when they faked this out at the beginning of this last expansion. And then one of the other quotes here from Ian: "Sometimes Chekhov's gun or Chekhov's sword, as the case may be, is going to lie there for a couple of expansions before something comes of it. Get used to that." Ooh, interesting. All right, so Valeria, who else you got? Who else you think is going out by the time we're done with Last Titan?
I don't think it. Oh, by the time we're done with Last Titan, okay. I thought they were just talking about Midnight.
The whole thing.
The whole shebang. Okay, well, if we're talking about the whole thing, I mean, I don't know. I kind of want Khadgar to have a sort of just a nice, peaceful retirement, to be honest. But I'm just gonna hope no for Khadgar. But I think Illyria's gotta be. I think a whole arc is just like being headstrong and being gung-ho and doing her own thing and rushing out and whatever. I think like Illyria has to be kind of the one who ends up dead at the end of it. Or
give me your top three. Give me your top three.
How about this? Varisa dies.
Oh,
and it drives Illyria mad.
Ooh,
and that we end up with sort of Kerrigan's situation again.
Again.
Blizzard loves like corrupting its characters, but I feel like if we got Varisa, like Vereesa, who's kind of like for a long time been sort of built up as the sort of the innocent one, to be honest.
Yeah.
The one who's reasonable and innocent. There's nothing really, hasn't really done anything, to my knowledge.
Husband got blown up.
Yeah, she's kind of had it rough. She also raised a sister's son while her sister was, off doing her thing, I suppose, chilling in Outland or whatever she was doing. I can't remember. I don't really care about Light's Law, But listen to the Law podcast for that one.
That's right.
But Illyria is an absent mother, put it that way. So Vereesa, I kind of like the idea of Vereesa and Arator and Turalyon being horribly killed by your boy Xal'atath as a way of
Xal'atath.
Yeah, your boy Xal'atath as a way of driving her mad and letting the void consume her, and then Xal'atath takes her over, and then Illyria bad, and then Sylvanas has to come and save us from Illyria. And then Sylvanas saves the day, becomes war chief again, and burns down the new Night Elf tree, whatever it's called.
Jesus Christ. Goes down to Herondar and burns it all down.
Yeah. You thought I was done? I'm back, bitch.
Hadn't even started.
With a flamethrower. Yeah. No. But like, that could be the Sylvanas redemption arc, and then like Sylvanas saves us from evil Illyria, and then Sylvanas is just depressed from all the non-stop pressing aspects of her life, and then she jumps on another big spike. And then I don't know, Vol'jin comes back, and then Vol'jin's a war chief. I don't know.
There you go.
Vol'jin returns somehow.
Vol'jin returns somehow.
I don't know. I'm don't let me write the game. I suppose it's probably.
You know what? You're onto something interesting though, because I think people forget that Xal'atath is inhabiting a corpse. So could she jump bodies and maybe take over Illyria? Like that's a compelling case that you could make if that was such a thing. Which bear that in mind when all these people want to fuck this person. That's a corpse, y'all.
Yeah, true that. I don't know, but it's 2026. Be a bit more open-minded.
That's right. I don't want to kink shame.
But I think like Turalyon and Vereesa and Arator have all kind of just been nothing in the story. So if you're gonna kill anyone to give Illyria some kind of vague semblance of character development, kill her entire family. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, bro.
That's not bad. What about Illidan? I don't think Illidan makes it either.
You think Illidan's coming back before the end?
Yeah, I think Illidan is absolutely coming back for Last Titan. 1000%.
See, the whole Last Titan thing's really just the name's kind of interesting to me, because it's like kind of hinting at like Sargeras, I'm sitting there thinking like Sargeras is not around, man. So I don't know. What if like Xal'atath takes the thingamabob, the Dark Heart, and sticks it in the jailer's empty heart socket?
Oh my god.
And makes her own Titan.
Ooh.
Because that sort of whole shell that the jailer is, that's basically like, a Titan blueprint, right?
Yeah.
Stick the Dark Heart right in that. Boom, you've got your own Void Titan, baby. Now he's the last Titan.
Oh.
That we know.
Ooh.
And
Zaval redemption story.
Yeah, well,
sort of.
I mean, he'd be like some kind of hideous corpse amalgamation, robot corpse void thing, I suppose. But
boy,
he would be at least be a more compelling threat giant void robot controlled by Xal'atath than he ever was as a, I don't even know what he was in Shadowlands, but that's kind of the point, right?
The sexy shirtless man walking around with nothing better to do, I guess.
Nipples, man.
Yeah, Nipple City over there.
The last Titan nipples. But he was well, this was the issue. The issue really with Zovar was like he didn't have enough. He was built to be a very big, important universe-ending threat, and he just didn't have enough character development. I really genuinely think there was a good story to be told within Shadowlands somehow, somewhere, some way. It wasn't. They weren't able to do it in one expansion because when you've got to like rush ahead with the patches and like make sure all the patches are there as soon as possible, rush, it kind of like makes it difficult to do real character development. So,
especially when you have to change the story, which they clearly had to, or they did, or something, because even like the first image, the shadowy image that we saw of the jailer was not the jailer. Like they whatever they did, they chopped it up and it didn't land.
It didn't land. But so I really love this idea of redeeming the Shadowlands lore arc somehow.
Yeah.
And because I honestly, a lot of people think like, oh, we should just move on from Shadowlands and forget that it exists. But I think it's not good for the health of the overall lore if some of this shit just isn't addressed,
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like Sylvanas, like in the pre-patch quest line, or wasn't even the pre-patch, it was like the last patch, I think. Well, it's pre-expansion quest line, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Even Sylvanas like alludes to the fact that she's still not like convinced of the whole system with regards to the Shadowlands. It's she alludes to that. She's not kind of like, oh no. You might not know this. Because did you do this quest with Sylvanas?
Where you go down there and you help her ship off the souls and like her homeboys like around the corner looking at her.
Yes. If you're a Horde player and you take in Battle for Azeroth, you can there's a dialogue option. It's one of the only dialogue options in the game which has consequences in the story.
Yes.
You can become a Sylvanas loyalist.
Right.
I'm a Sylvanas loyalist.
I had no doubt.
You get an extra scene of dialogue if you're a Sylvanas loyalist.
And
she alludes to the fact that she doesn't regret what she did. or rather, she alludes to the fact that like she regrets what she did, but she was like, I still don't get why the Shadowlands was set up this way. Why the life and death thing had to be set up this way. Who did this? She's still got questions about this shit. She's still thinking about this shit. She ain't letting it go, man. She ain't letting it go. She's been in Shadowlands years. Shadowlands years like dog years. I don't know, but she's been there for a fairly long time in relative time. Because time goes faster for us or them or something like that. She's been there a long time as far as her perception goes. All the time she's been there, she's been thinking like some shit ain't right. There's something about this whole setup which ain't right, and she still wants to get to the bottom of it. And like she thought she was getting to the bottom of it by burning down the tree and helping the jailer and all that kind of thing. And then she's like, okay, well maybe I went a little bit too far then, but she's still got the same mission, whatever. So it feels like they do want to they want to address some of those plot threads. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Interesting.
Or maybe it was just a bit of fan service for people who wanted to be a Sylvanas.
No, we know she's going to be involved, and it's probably in Midnight because this whole thing is about the Windrunner sisters. So you're probably onto something. You're probably onto something here. So yeah, it's
maybe.
Listen,
Sylvanas did nothing wrong.
You and those fucking people, man. The Sylvanas did nothing wrong. And then, first it was, what's his face? your former war chief, not Thrall, the other guy.
Bolgen?
No.
Garrosh.
Yeah. Like, Garrosh did nothing wrong. Now Sylvanas did nothing wrong. It never does anything wrong. I see how it is. I got an administration you can work for. Let's see here. So, big deaths. I already had to survive a couple. One big one years ago, so I feel like my heart's ready. And if it's Anduin, I mean, okay, fine. That's about the only other one I'd probably really, truly care about. But that would make no sense because he's too young. And that's stories. There's still a lot of meat on that bone, but we'll see. Interesting to hear about that. And then PC Gamers, one other piece here before we get to our one question from our Q&A today. There was a mention in
let me ask you this.
Well, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yep.
But as an Anduin fan, how would you feel Anduin got with Sylvanas? I kind of ship that, bro.
Anduin
Sylvanas, I ship that. I ship it.
I could understand that because there is a shared trauma bond, and that can do things. And there was a time, I think, in Shadowlands, right, where she was trying to, they had him prisoner and they were doing the whole thing, and she was trying to twist him, and she knew it wasn't quite right, but they were doing it anyway. Like, you could feel that there was a little bit of that tension there. And then in the end, when he goes to visit
sexual
her,
tension.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there could be a little bit of something there. And he went to go visit her. Why, I don't know. If you really hate somebody, you're not going to go visit them. You're interested to see what's going on. So, it wouldn't be the craziest thing, but again, she's also undead, and I don't know how that would. I don't know how that plays out, because eventually you're gonna want to get some love.
I can tell you how we used to role play it back on Defiance Brotherhood.
Oh God.
Maybe for an Unshackled Fury After Dark, maybe.
It's always After Dark. What do? Put like a hot pocket in there real quick just to like warm things up, and then you got 5 minutes. It
depends how rotten you are.
Well, I suppose it's true. She is in pretty good condition.
If you're a Forsaken and you've got like your bones hanging out and all that kind of thing, your jaw's falling off.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's kind of rough. But if you've been raised by Arthas, and your body's relatively intact, I think you could, especially right if you're a Blood Death Knight, you can control the flow of blood.
Yeah.
So even if your heart's not beating, you can artificially put the blood where it needs to be.
But it'd be cold. It'd be cold.
Blood boil. Blood boil. The spell blood boil. You blood boil yourself to warm it up. And your partner, if you're sleeping with an undead.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Blood Death Knight is basically
yeah, but does Sylvanas
the
have
ideal
that
candidate? She's like got all the Death Knight abilities, surely.
Be like trying to fuck a couple of microwave dinners. Like, it just wouldn't. I don't know. It'd be weird. We went off on a tangent there. Welcome to Unshackled Fury. That's rated M for what the fuck. All right. So yeah, to answer your question, I can see it, and listen, stranger shit has happened, and we'll see. But I'm still holding out hope for him and Varisa. I think there's something there. Because
I want Nathanos to come back.
Yeah, she's got Nathanos anyway. And
where is Nathanos, man?
He's watching her. He's down there. He's in the maw. It's only a matter of time. They'll find him.
We haven't seen him, man.
They can have blood boil.
I want him back.
Bring him back. He's in that pre-patch quest. I'm telling you. Go look it up.
Is he?
Yeah. Yeah. He's still around.
Is he really?
He's waiting for that blood boil moment.
I was trolling, man.
Oh my lord. All right. Let's get out of here before we get in trouble. We can't get in trouble. Nobody watched this thing. Nobody cares. One other PC Gamer interview that was given. They talk about Blizzard folks talk about the overhaul to Silvermoon and how potentially down the road, if this is well received, which of course it is, Stormwind and Orgrimmar could be up for a similar kind of revamp. Now, for somebody who's been around since day one, Jez, how would you feel about Orgrimmar, the Orgrimmar that you know, the only Orgrimmar that you know and love, being revamped, and so it no longer is what it was? Maybe it's bigger, maybe it's grander, but it's also not what it was. So it's the nostalgia versus the utility of potentially adding things that you might actually use or enjoy as a space. Which do you think is the better option there?
Tear it down, man. Orgrimmar's a pit. Tear it down. Orgrimmar's a pit, man. There's not a lot of nostalgia for the modern Orgrimmar. It looks like a health and safety hazard, man. There's spikes everywhere, you know, and dirty. They don't have roads, you know, and then I go to Stormwind and everything's clean, you know. Has Orcish technology just not advanced anywhere, you know?
No.
So for me, I would presume that, you know, the Forsaken don't really have a home at the moment. It's still a nuclear hole in the ground. Forsaken are pretty good at architecture. If you know, see some of their buildings in some of the more recent expansions.
I dig it.
I wouldn't mind if, like, they revamped Orgrimmar to make it a little bit more like a hub for all the races together, all the Horde races together. Because right now it's like there's a little troll part, and there's an orc part, and there's a tiny little Tauren part. But what it really needs is, like, all the races need to have some kind of representation there. So I'm all about revamping that stuff, and, you know, adding some representation in Stormwind as well. I know they've got the Night Elf bit, and there's the Dwarf bit, and that kind of thing. But if these are like main city hubs for the races, and we are sort of moving in that kind of direction, revamp everything, I would say. That would be my argument.
That makes sense. No, that makes a lot of sense. And when they were talking about this, I was thinking about Stormwind, and there's all these places that just, they're there, or there's buildings that are there, or there's facades of buildings that are there, but they're just there. You don't use them. They're not good for anything. It's just more visual than anything else. And to your point, yeah, having like a central location where things are more inclusive in that way, of all the different races that are represented by a particular faction. I'm totally fine to see Varian's memorial be even bigger and grander than it is now. So I'm fully on board with that. And then maybe they could have a special.
You need to get a room with Varian, bro.
3D section that, you know, I can talk to him like some sort of simulacrum, and I can get advice from him about like what to do when, you know, something happens. Like, Varian, what would you do? And then that would be great. So yeah.
What if Sylvanas resurrected what's his name? Varian. Oh no, she can't, because he's just a pile of dust. My bad. My bad.
It'd have to be reconstituted in some sort of.
Yeah, you need like a dust pad and brush, scrape him off the floor to.
You just need a little bit. Just a little bit. There's got to be something back there on the broken shore that's like, you know, in that crater that Gul'dan left.
And then someone sneezes and blows him away. You know, it's
just got to capture just one little flake before it's all gone. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Well, there you go. They're considering doing reimaginings, I think they call it, of major cities. So I know, Jez, you're always talking about revamping the old world, and I think taking a hammer at those two locations would be big improvements, I'm sure, for a lot of folks, because we do still use them, and it could be kind of fun. So on the heels of that last little discussion, we do have our one Q&A question. So let's go ahead and get into our Q&A before we get out of this episode. Q&A. All right, just for you. Why is Anduin Lothar like way cooler than Varian Rin? Also, what do they have in common? Both got killed by an orc. Laughing face emoji. And this is from our buddy Jin on Discord, whose show I was hyping up earlier. Maybe I shouldn't have hyped up the show. He's being so mean. First of all, before Jez gets to completely decimate this, they're both badasses. So that's what they both have in common. So you're wrong about that. Anduin Lothar, you know what? I'll give it in that he had more aura than Varian. He fought bigger battles, I think. He had a warrior's death. So I have no problem if anybody says Anduin Lothar is cooler than Varian. Varian's my guy, but Anduin Lothar is a fucking beast. And I'll do you even one better. On my phone, as the photo for the homie Rommel in my phone right now, his profile picture is Anduin Lothar, and has been for years. So if that should tell you everything about how I prioritize these things. But go ahead, Jez. Why is Anduin Lothar cooler, and is that what they both have in common? Is they both got killed by an orc? Is this where we're at?
I mean, I'm not familiar with random alliance unimportant characters from lore, you know. But it is true that they are both killed by an orc, you know.
Yes, it is.
But that's what orcs do, is they correct things that need to be corrected, you know. Anduin Lothar's Warcraft 2, right? Maybe Warcraft 1 as well. I haven't played Warcraft 1.
He's old school. That's the fight at Blackrock Mountain, you know, and that's one of the big ones.
Yeah, I need to play those old Warcraft games. They're on Game Pass, so I don't really have much of an excuse.
You should. They're fun. They're cool.
Yeah, I should go back and play sometime.
They're still fun. I still have them up on my Blizzard launcher, and every once in a while I'll jump in and play a mission or do something just to kind of see some of the old crew back when some of them were actually doing shit. So
Microsoft's the only company that's still actively making real-time strategy games. Like the only real big publisher still doing it. So maybe one day we'll get a new StarCraft and Warcraft RTS. I don't know.
That's the hope. I'm gonna hold out. Hold out. So there you go, Jen. There you go. There's our answers. All right. I think we've done enough damage for one episode. So for those who don't already know, well, where can the good people find you out on the internet, Jez?
Yeah, so at least until I get laid off, you can find me at windowscentral.com. You know, it's not a fun time in the media landscape, but I do have an interview coming with Maria Hamilton from the Warcraft team this week, where she does hint at like some pretty interesting potential additions for the transmog system, including maybe even merging the glyph system into the transmog system and, you know, expanding that kind of thing. So look out for that. And you can find me over, if you like Xbox 2 podcast. And if you like, I don't know, really bad tweets, oh man, I've been riding up Pokemon fans on my Twitter this week. Oh boy, they are so pissed at me. I got like because Monster Hunter Stories 3 is coming out soon, and it's not even like truly a Pokemon like, but it has some vague similarities. I've been rage baiting Pokemon fans saying, "Oh, this is how a Pokemon game should be," and I got like thousands of likes and thousands of angry comments.
Oh my god!
So yeah, if you like terrible tweets, come find me on Twitter at Jez Corden and come and hear the banter.
There it is. And my thanks to you, good sir, for joining me once again. And my thanks to all of you for watching or listening and tuning into this show. And you can always follow me on Twitter at Berserker Rage and Unshackled_Fury for this show. On Blue Sky at Berserker and Unshackled Fury, as well as on YouTube at Unshackled_Fury. You can also join our Discord, where we get most of our Q&A questions, if not all. Links for which are in the profile of the show on Twitter and on our website, unshackledfury.com. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise through any of those resources, or email us at unshackledfuryshow@gmail.com. Nobody emailed. Email us, for God's sake, or I'm going to throw the thing away. And you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll see you next time. Farewell.